Hi guys, I'm Ed.
Hi, I'm Hugh, and welcome back to our series on restoring Chris Buck's vintage Stratocaster.
This is episode 5, and today we're going to be looking at some of the electronic issues of the guitar.
Yeah, not so much the electronics specifically, but just kind of it's the start of the process of restoring the wiring inside the guitar. Mm-hmm. And the object is to try and make the wiring look as original as possible, not with a view to deceiving anybody, but just because it'll look nice really under there, and it'll look hopefully much as if it would if it hadn't been molested.
People often say, oh, it's out of sight, why worth bothering? But we do kind of feel like it's all part of the persona of the guitar. If it's well sorted inside, like it left the factory almost, then it's worth
exactly. So we're going to be doing something quite bizarre really. There were 2 pieces of original cloth-covered wire that had survived inside the guitar, so I've carefully kept those and I intend reusing them. The rest is all rubbishy plastic-covered wire. So what I want to do is get some brand new cloth-covered wire and relic it up to try and make it look like the vintage wire that has survived, so it all looks of a piece when it's all put back together.
And it helps tidy it all up as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's actually a really quite a simple thing to do, and it's a lot of fun to do, and you don't need any specialist tools or anything. Just a pair of rubber gloves, to be honest.
And a time machine.
One of the reasons for doing so is that the pickups all needed fresh hookup wire. The grey bottom one is a 70s one, so that's going to get plastic coated wiring, but the 2 vintage 60s ones, the black bottom ones, they're going to have this relic cloth wire, and hopefully they'll come out looking really, really good.
Fingers crossed they sound as good as they look, at least.
Absolutely. So I will be sending the pickups off to my favourite pickup guy along with the wire, and hopefully we'll see those coming back and they'll look great.
Fantastic. Okay, well, remember, please subscribe, leave us any comments, and hope you enjoy what you're about to see.
Well, this next bit should be fun. There's a couple of pieces of cloth covered wire here that look to have been original to the guitar. Not entirely sure, it looks a little bit yellower than usual, but what I'm going to try and do is take this brand new hookup wire. I've got some off-white stuff here and black covered wire, and just try and do a little bit of relicing to make it look hopefully like it had been in the guitar forever, not for the purposes of deceiving anybody, but just make the inside of the guitar look really cool, make it look right. So I'm going to be staining this, stain both actually, and adding a little bit of dirt, and hopefully we get something that looks fairly similar. And obviously this wire is going to be soldered onto the pickups and also used to do the interconnects between the switch and the control pots. I'll actually be using the original wire wherever possible. Of course, there's actually 3 strands that survive in the guitar. The other is still attached to the switch at the moment. But let's see what we can do, and hopefully we'll get something that looks fairly convincing. For the purposes of getting this stuff stained or dyed, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix these StewMac colour tints into some isopropyl alcohol. I've got some vintage amber there, and I've got medium brown. So This is really strong stuff, so you do definitely need to wear gloves. If you don't wear gloves and it gets on your fingers, it's going to look just like you've got a 60-a-day smoking habit. The reason I'm using isopropyl alcohol rather than water to mix the stains is that I don't want to put any water anywhere near these wires and get them to corrode or oxidize. If I use isopropyl alcohol, it'll just evaporate off really quickly. So I'm just going to pick up a little bit on a cotton bud here. This is definitely kind of giving it a yellow quality. When it dries off, which is pretty quick. Yeah, that's not too bad. I'm going to need to go a little bit stronger on here, and I'll add another couple of drops of vintage amber, and I think I'm going to add a little bit of brown as well. Okay, let's turn this round, see how we go. Okay, that's getting there. Okay, it's not too bad. If you look at the bit at the end there on the original wire, it's got that kind of yellowy look, and it's the dirt on the outside that's really giving it that dusty, mucky kind of colour. I think the background colour of the wire now is looking pretty good with the stain that's been mixed up. Ooh, got a little bit more brown on there, and that looks kind of good as well. So maybe add just a little bit more brown. It's always good to let this dry off a little bit as well, because the colour changes as the liquid evaporates. It's going to pick up a little bit of that stain on the outside, and that goes way too dark. Okay, so I'm going to need to be pretty careful with that. Okay, experiment complete. I'm going to cut some of this wire to the correct length, and let's get the colour sorted, and then we'll get some dirt on the outside. Okay, I've got 3 lengths of this wire now. Remember that this is only going to be attached to 2 of the pickups. Just going to have the regular 70s style black and white plastic wire on the grey bottomed pickup, but this should look the part. For the 2 1960s pickups, I got a little bit of that dark brown stain residue on the gloves on my left hand here, and it's giving it a kind of a patchy, inconsistent look, which I really like. Looks a bit more authentic. Okay, let's compare that with some original stuff. Not too bad. Maybe could have done with a bit more yellow. Yeah, going over it a second time. Now I've added a bit more vintage amber to the mixture. That's kind of looking alright. Okay. It's not going to be too bad. Certainly close enough. Right, I'll do the other two and then check back in, and we'll add a little bit of dust and dirt to the outside. Well, these are lumps of charcoal basically, or half burnt wood from my chimney out in the garden, and all I'm doing is just transferring some of the soot across and just working it into the outside of the cloth covering. Don't want too even a coverage. Okay. Well, it's pretty good, I think. I'm pleased with that. Okay, so that's a piece of the white cloth wire after the soot and staining treatment. That's what it looked like after just having the stain. And it started out like that. So I think that's going to look pretty good once that's inside the guitar. Right, I've also stained up some black ones. It made a very, very minor difference to the colour, but every little helps, and I'd definitely be giving the black wires the soot treatment as well, just to give them the appearance of age, even if it doesn't change the colour that much. Okay, just carry on doing this. And the wires are done. Not looking too bad. They look quite good inside this guitar, so I don't want to take any unnecessary risks with a set of vintage Strat pickups from the 60s. They're too valuable, they're too delicate, and I'm going to send them to someone I trust to do it more than myself. So I'll send the wires along with the pickups, and hopefully get them back shortly. Looking really good, and they'll be ready to wire it back into the pick guard. Okay, we got the box open now, and let's pull these pickups out of the protective case, and they're nicely wrapped up. This looks like the 70s one. Oh yeah. Okay, that looks great. It's got the proper plastic covered wire that you'd expect on a pickup of this vintage, and I don't think they could have done the solder joints any better than that, really. Let's have a look at the other guys. Ooh, yeah, that's kind of what I was hoping for. That's really, really nice. Okay. Not bad. Looking suitably filthy and vintage. There we go. I'm very pleased with that. He's done a great job. That can't have been easy, and it must have been really quite nerve-wracking. I mean, goodness knows I chickened out. So there we go. 3 nicely restored pickups that are all ready to go back into Chris's guitar.
Okay, hope you enjoyed that. Personally, I think the wire looks much better now.
Yeah, I'm pretty pleased. It's just great fun. A bit of stain and a bit of soot. It goes a long way.
It's amazing. It just adds to the whole character of the guitar, and I think it's a worthwhile doing. To me, there's no point in having modern wiring in such cool looking vintage guitar. Really.
Yeah, the only drawback is it smells like somebody's barbecue under the pickguard now, but
Still, you can barely smell it over the stench of 60s, 70s nightclubs still emanating from that finish of the guitar, but we'll get to the body finish at some point in the future, perhaps.
yeah, but I'm real pleased. I'm delighted with the way the pickups worked out. I sent them off to House of Tone Pickups up in Chester because I think Matthew does a fantastic job up there, and I trust him with all my vintage restoration stuff. I mean, I have rewired pickups myself, but I wasn't going to take the risk with this one.
It's quite a specialist thing. Those wires can be so fragile and you're right inside, aren't they?
Well, that's precisely the point, yeah, because the way it works is that there are two eyelets in the bottom flat of the pickup, and in the Fender factory they would wrap the magnet wire around those eyelets several times to secure the magnet wire. So what had happened was, with the previous rewiring, is that those wraparounds had been completely destroyed, so the magnet wire was literally hanging on by a single thread in each of those eyelets. So by trying to solder in new wire and introducing heat and stuff to that very delicate wire, they could have snapped. And if it's particularly the lead out wire from the start wire, basically you can end up having to have the pickup rewound. If it's the outer wire, then sometimes you can unwrap a single winding and then buy yourself a little bit more free wire. But yeah, Matthew did a phenomenal job. The pickups are working. He had to do one splice, just one, but the other two came out perfectly. So I am massively really
well done,
relieved.
Matthew.
Yeah. So check out House of Tone Pickups in Chester in the UK. He also winds phenomenally good Stratocaster pickups, which is another reason I sent them, because if they had needed a rewind, they would have been going to Matthew anyway.
They do sound so good.
Yeah.
It's worth noting perhaps that if you've got an old dead pickup, try and get it to an expert before just straight away thinking, oh, it's no good, let's just completely rewind.
Yeah.
Some of these guys, and there's a bunch of them out there as well, to try and keep as much of the original coil wind and so on.
Absolutely.
In much the same way as we're trying to sort of restore the guitar to be as authentic as possible, keeping as much of the original stuff in the pickup as well is great. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic.
So that's it for this particular instalment.
Okay, well, make sure you click subscribe, guys, because there's a few more instalments to come. Let us know any comments, any stories of old guitars or restoration of pickups, finishes, frets, all the things we've talked about so far. Let us know in the comments, and we'll see you for the next instalment.
Yeah, which will be the dreaded pickguard restoration. Oh, I've been putting this off.
Yeah, worried about this one.
Oh yeah, sure am. Anyway, check in next time and see how it turns out.
Hwyl fawr.
Dabo.